Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you again so much for joining me here. Let's take another look here at Solana, see what's going on. It pulled back as expected, but also maintained its range here with this falling wedge. So we're going to talk a little bit about this, bigger picture scenario here. This is actually a pretty big deal because breaking free from this could actually imply further upside. Because again, it would be breaking the lower low, lower high pattern. We're also establishing ourselves into somewhat of a range here too. So you can kind of see there's a good chance that we could see that shift in momentum. If you've watched my university videos, you'll know that descending trends are oftentimes shifted into ascending trends, but they usually have to reside in a range first. So this is like that 1-2 step for the third step, which is essentially an ascending type of pattern, which we're looking forward to getting to. But there's still a lot of ground that needs to be covered first, but the fact that we are essentially in this range is an important thing to recognize, and then breaking free from this range would imply we are back on track. We really just need a closure above 136, and that would show us pretty solid that we are able to reclaim that upper level and continue higher. Okay, so just some cool stuff that we're going to talk about here today. We're going to talk about the not so cool stuff too, because that's just what trading is all about. Good traders look at everything, and that's what I try to do myself. While I miss plenty of opportunities and things don't work out the way that I always want them to, this is just trading, right, folks? You got to kind of learn to learn from your mistakes and to essentially continue to be adaptive, if you will. And truth is, we are in a Solana long right now, and we are currently in profit with our average entry in the 130. I think it's 130 and some change. So while we did trigger a stop loss for Bitcoin yesterday, it was a small loss. Made sure we mitigated our loss there, putting our invalidation or our stop loss right there at the invalidation level. Okay, so again, you want to kind of recognize what that looks like. I usually send updates on our in our trade alerts section. So future reference, do have a trade alert section here where I kind of give you insight on that. If you're part of our Discord, you'll know that's available to all members. So just make sure you check that out if you haven't already. But let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk a little bit about, first of all, the back-end data here. So liquidation levels, we zoom a little bit, we can see some local shorts here, recent shorts, basically late shorts getting destroyed. We can also recognize too that there's a pretty chunky amount of volume or liquidation at 138 to 140. So it does seem more likely, based on a liquidation standpoint, that we're going to see more price action to the upside than the downside. That's literally been the name of the game for the last 2 or 3 weeks for Bitcoin and also altcoins too. The price just runs towards liquidation levels. So I wouldn't say it's a guarantee, but it's a higher probability we're going to see upside than downside, because Solana is in a heavy support range at 125 to 130, 133 range. We've seen a lot of accumulation there. We'll look at that in the charts here in a minute, but if you look here, we can see about $1 billion at about 140. I'm rounding up a little bit, but in the 139 to 140 range, that's where we see the most amount of liquidation. Okay, so just know that exists. That's right here, just above this local high, or this range that we're stuck within, if you will. Okay, because again, we saw the price wick all the way up there and turn right around. Congrats again to our community members. I know somebody messaged me asking for a good take profit target, and it was just under 138. Again, you never want to pick round numbers when you trade. It's generally unfavorable, just because a lot of people are going to just automatically round up or round down, as I do in my videos, right? Just for example's sake. And when you kind of set up an order at the exact level, you're oftentimes not going to get filled because there's thousands of other people either in front of you or just using that same round number. So careful doing that. Let's take a look here at the SMAs. We're below all moving averages. Totally bearish, folks. There's no other way around it. We haven't broken this descending trend yet. Again, range-bound activity is one thing, but we got to basically break free from that, okay? So if we do take a look here, once again, this 138 range is going to be a solid resistance for us. So if we get close to that, we can expect an initial rejection. We may break through it, considering the fact that we retested that level yesterday, but once again, you got to test support or resistance levels multiple times. We also got to recognize too, if we kind of look at bigger picture here, I do this line out here previously for when one of my community members asked about like a support range for Solana. It's no joke. It literally wicked all the way down to 122, and we've seen this definitive line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 attempts to break that level and hasn't yet. Well, yes, I know you're probably rolling your eyes like, what do you mean? It came down to 110 recently. Yeah, it spent like an hour in that level, and it turned right around, right? So again, you got to recognize candlestick closures are important, not necessarily the candle wicks. While those are liquidation hunts, and you want to be careful with high leverage because you're going to be a statistic if you do that. At this point, though, that is a solid consideration for a support level. Okay, just an area that you need to know. That's exactly why I put our stop loss for our Solana long below that level. If you're trying to figure out why or how I do that, invalidation levels are places that I like to put our stop loss, just below that. at least for a long. Inverse applies for a short. Take a look here, of course, with stochastic RSI that's swinging up. That's one of the only indicators we really have right now that the prices are bullish on coins right now. Bitcoin being the primary one there. We're under all other moving averages. The daily time frames are going to look terrible for the moment. Okay, there's no other way around it. The 4-hour time frame, let's go ahead and see here. We can see we got a strong amount of volume here. We're pushing up towards 50 on the RSI, likely to break. Stochastic RSI swinging up. Money flow index is increasing. We can see here as well that we got a solid bounce off the MACD here. No divergence at all. So Solana is actually starting to bottom out and hold its value very well. While I know we had this aggressive sell-off right here, I mean, Bitcoin came down to 55K, right? Or 55.5. And that was a pretty aggressive sell-off. While I'm super happy that I had a lot of limit orders set with Bitcoin and I was able to get filled, it's just kind of par for the course, okay? Just the way that it works out. And at this point here, try not to be too surprised by this kind of behavior. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so we're up over the 20-day SMA here for the moment. Just to clarify, that's usually an indicator for me to consider transitioning from a short, kind of being more short biased to being neutral/long biased. Again, it's not a guarantee, of course. You can break above that and still have problems, which we saw a couple days ago when we took our Bitcoin and Solana long and they just went right straight down as soon as the Asian markets opened. But the truth is, that's usually a good indicator for the most part. But you want to try to wait for a good couple of candlesticks to close above it before you consider taking a trade. And that's unfortunately the way the market is. If you wait too long, you're going to miss your opportunities. So it's kind of a catch-22. But the key takeaway here is that we are in a position right now where waiting for confirmation is extremely important. And if we can break above this descending trend, this falling wedge, I think Solana will absolutely take off here soon. Especially with Bitcoin trying to test that 58K resistance range. I am considering a long in the 58K range for Bitcoin if we have a good confirmation today or tomorrow. Again, I know it seems crazy, but at this point, we're proving to starting to bottom out, at least specifically with Solana. And Bitcoin is definitely looking good with high volume candles here today. And you got to remember to follow the volume, folks. Absolutely. Listen to the volume. There's a joke in there, of course, but what I want to talk about here in the hourly really quick, let's go ahead and finish this up and call it a day. We can see this tentative resistance level. This is based on the 4-hour candlestick closure, but we've also got some obvious support and resistance here. So I'm speculating we close above 133 today. We're going to be in pretty solid shape to see a continuation of the upside and potential to break this range-bound activity and to establish higher highs and higher lows. We got to get through 138 first. Once we get there, we sweep that upper level liquidity at 140. Bob's your uncle. Price continues to run. I think we're going to be in just really, really good shape by then. But between now and then, until we establish higher highs and higher lows consistently, we haven't broken this descending trend yet. Or we haven't broken free from this range-bound activity either. Those are both very relevant things we need to accomplish before being blindly bullish. So take a look here. The last thing here, of course, is Ichimoku Cloud. We're getting tentatively rejected by the upper and lower lead here. That's very standard. It's running concurrent with this descending trend as well. So what we're looking for is a bullish backtest of the descending trend. So hypothetically, the descending trend itself, continues lower here. That's roughly what it would look like. We'd want to see the price action continue back and essentially bounce off this level here. So even if the price pulls back sometime tomorrow to 130, that would probably be a good consideration for a long because you'd have that bullish backtest of that descending trend line. So that's exactly why I love the Ichimoku Cloud, because it gives you a good indication of future reference here, a little more forecasting, just like the actual Fibonacci retracement levels. It helps us understand that this is a good area to consider getting into because we've broken above those moving averages, those descending trends, and we're generally in good shape. Now again, hindsight's 2020. If you look at this here, we had a similar breakout, right, above the cloud. That's where confirming factors were provided, right? So it's not always exact, but again, we were still below that descending trend line. We were still, below 50 in the RSI on larger time frames under specific moving averages. So at this point, we're starting to see that shift in momentum. Stochastic is, not stochastic. That is the conversion lines being above the baseline. Lagging span is now free and clear of the price action. This is pretty much a green light to take a long position. Okay. The only thing I'd recommend waiting for is confirmation, which comes in a myriad of ways, but to me, somewhere above this descending trend line. Okay. So in fact, we'll just go ahead and pull this out a little further just so we can pay attention. That's exactly where we want to be here. We want to be at 132 or higher sometime today when the candlestick closes. Pending Bitcoin isn't, on its way down and Bitcoin closes at 58K or higher, we're probably in pretty good shape here with Solana. Okay. So I think you're going to find more luck with this coin going up than down at this exact moment. We'll reevaluate later today to kind of confirm, but generally speaking, we're on the right side of tracks here. At least we're almost there. Sorry, I misspoke. As you can see, we probably still want to wait, but this is a very, very, very good sign. Okay. All right, folks, thanks again so much for watching. I'll update our playout chart here. I'll post it on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, and I hope you have a fantastic remainder of your day. We'll see you soon. Take care.